Hey everybody, it's Susan Berkley from greatvoice.com, and we are about to start my Google Hangout, what every beginning voice talent ought to know about microphones. So if you signed up, you are in the right place, and I'm so excited about today's Hangout because, believe it or not, I've been in this business now for a long time, and I actually, in talking to Chris Fox, our engineer who's going to be our special guest, I actually learned some things about microphones that I didn't know. So this is going to be an awesome, amazing, wonderful hangout. I mean, it is a sleepy summer afternoon. A lot of people are already on vacation, vacation-minded, and what better way to spend the time is hanging out with us right now for about an hour, talking about microphones and your voiceover career and how it's going to be a wonderful thing for you. So I'm so happy you're here. I can't wait to get started. We have just about 2 minutes before we go, but I thought I'd check in early and say hi and just see how you're doing. I see the line is filling up. We've got quite a few people coming on as I speak. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Susan Berkley here. We're about to talk about what every beginning voice talent ought to know about microphones. I mean, it's such a question, isn't it? It's a big decision to make, and it seems like every second there's a new microphone on the market, and it's just like the thing you have to worry about your voiceover career. Well, we're going to handle all that for you in just a few minutes in this exciting webinar. I'm so excited about it because, like I said, I'm going to share with you things that I didn't even know after all these years in the business. And I was talking to Chris, our audio engineer, as we were planning this and putting it together. And, I'm not only are we going to have some fun, you're going to actually learn something really important and cool about voiceover. So I hope you're enjoying your summer. It's been hot, hasn't it? I mean, around here, New York, it seems like I haven't had the air conditioning off for like barely, go outside without air conditioning. Very, very hot. But, that's how it is. It's August, a little bit of global warming going on, and at least I'm getting a lot of use out of the pool club. And I hope you are too. Hope you're having a great summer vacation. I'm actually next week, I'm very excited. I'm going out to the North Fork of Long Island, which is someplace I've never been before. They say the beaches are beautiful. So Chris is coming in. What do you need? I think, look, it's working. We have 52 people on the line. Check it out.
I need to do
okay, you're going to sit down? You want to sit in my chair?
No. Keep doing
you're going to hog my chair, Chris?
Keep doing your thing, Susan.
So here we are. And that's Chris.
Hello, everybody.
We're going to start our webinar in just a second. He's here doing this engineering thing, doing some technical stuff. And we're going to take your questions too on this in this webinar. It's completely, totally interactive. And as you can see, live, because Chris isn't supposed to be here right now, but he's making a special guest appearance. Everything cool? I need to see the PowerPoint though.
Okay,
you took that off my screen.
Pretty sure we're all set.
Okay, cool. Hang on, folks.
There we go.
All right, here we go. So now we can get started. We're going to talk about what every beginning voice talent ought to know about microphones. Are you ready? Do you have a pad and paper? Because this is great information that you're going to want to, you want to take some action on, and you're going to want to keep these in your notes. So let me tell you who this is right for. This is right for newcomers to voiceover, people who I call are on the runway to retirement. What does that mean? Well, it means you're getting ready to retire, and you're one of those people who loves to plan. So maybe you're about, 3, 4, 5 years out, and you see voiceover as something that you're going to do in retirement. I hate that word retirement, huh? But maybe you like it, but you definitely want to stay busy. I completely get that. And a lot of our students are in that want or need a work from home money hobby. What's a money hobby? Exactly what it sounds. Something you do in your spare time that makes you some extra bucks. So I get that too. VoiceOver's perfect for people like that. People need a side gig. I mean, everybody today needs a side gig. So this is great for that. And of course, it's perfect for people who always wanted to do this. Maybe you have a dream. You just don't want to have any regret. Realize that dream. So I join us. This is what every voiceover beginner needs to know about microphones. I'm Susan Berkley at the Great Voice Company. This is my office, and my studios are down the hall here. So this is what you're going to discover in today's webinar. Number one, the best way to choose the right microphone for your voice. Yeah, not all mics are right for every voice. And we're going to talk about that and how to choose the best one for you. I mean, what a drag it would be if you had somebody else's mic, right? You need the best one for your voice. Also, common microphone placement mistakes that can kill a great performance. I mean, you work and work and work on your voiceover technique, and you start to do your auditions, but maybe you place the microphone incorrectly, so you just can't get yourself to sound as good as you should. So we're going to learn how to prevent that. And then there actually are microphones that can make you sound worse and should never be used, never. So that's our third thing. So we're going to talk about the best way to choose the right mic for your voice, common microphone placement mistakes that can kill a great performance, and microphones that can make you sound worse and should never be used, ever. All right, so let me talk a little bit about what's possible for you in voiceover, because I love talking about this, because these are some of our students. Dorian Taylor, a shout out to Dorian, I wonder if you're listening, in Southern California, let us know she was so excited because she just booked a national commercial for a computer operating system and became the voice of a video that will introduce a new cell imaging product. So in the medical narrations area, Tim Nelson of Seattle booked 2 jobs for Mercedes-Benz for their torque training system. Jeff Dumont from Ithaca was like jumping off the wall because he booked a video spot for a big national PR firm, and he actually booked that at his demo recording session. The audio engineer was so impressed. Actually, we trained him, that Jeff rather, that he ended up hiring him, and he's on cloud 9. Tom Manning out of New Jersey booked 2 corporate spots and his first audio book. Kathy Hauk down in Florida booked a big job for Expedia. You know them, the travel online company that paid her over and above her former annual contract. Can you imagine actually making more money than you think you're going to make in voiceover because you did such a great job? Well, that was Kathy. Congratulations. Kathy's talent that we've worked with for years. She came to our boot camp, so I kind of discovered her. She's bilingual, and she works in voiceover in both English and Spanish, and we hire her a lot here at the Great Voice Company. And so these are just some actual examples of our students, but overall, people come to this, and more people these days are here because they want an active, secure retirement. And maybe retirement isn't in the works for you, but you just want to have a great money hobby, or make some extra bucks, or just have fun. I get it. That's what today's webinar is for. Maybe you want autonomy, you want freedom. I mean, this is America, right? And you want peace of mind, you want to enjoy every day, or you just want a thriving side business and that can happen for you when you get into voiceover. Now, what if you don't take action? Let's say you've been dreaming about this and you just, you procrastinate. Well, what's the result? Pain. What might have been, woulda, coulda, shoulda, and at some point in your life, it's going to be too late. So that's why I applaud you for coming here, because you're taking action. I mean, there's nothing worse about meeting somebody who is bitter because they've lost out on an opportunity in their life, and every day puts them farther and farther away from their goals instead of closer. You don't want that, right? And you don't want anxiety in retirement. You don't want to be bored. You want a good life. And even worse, you don't want to lose your autonomy or your security. So that's why a lot of people come to voiceover, and that's why we're here for you, and why I'm doing this Google Hangout today, as we discuss a key piece of your voiceover home studio, your microphone. So we're going to get into that in a second. But first, if you're new here, maybe we've not met before, I just want to share with you how I got here. So I come from a radio background. I was in radio for like 15 years. And my last radio job was with a guy you might have heard. His name is Howard Stern. Now, Howard went on to become this huge media superstar. And at the time, he was in radio, a DJ, and I was on his show. I was his traffic reporter. Used to do the traffic when he was on in New York. But you know, the secret, the big secret about radio is it does not pay very well. So I had to work 3 day jobs just to make ends meet. Now, I was a waitress, like many people are in New York City. Nothing wrong with that. It's good cash money. And I also did some telemarketing. I worked for a Boyle's funeral homes. Right? I didn't last very long there. And finally, I had a day job where I worked for a singing telegram company called Renta Yenta. I mean, this is New York. You have everything, right? And one day they called me up and they said, it was about this time of year, steaming hot outside, and they said, we want you to go down to 7th Avenue where they do all of the invitation to a fashion show. But because it's a Christmas fashion show, you know, the fashion industry is always working several months ahead, there's a costume. And they said, we want you to wear this elf costume. Now, I got to tell you, it was a real elf costume. Felt, wool skirt, fur trim, little elf hat, little elf shoes. And I put it on, and I am trudging down 7th Avenue in this god-awful heat. It's about 100 degrees. And I'm like, oh, man, there's got to be a better way. I'm just so miserable. I am dead broke. I'm working in radio, but I'm not making any money. I'm doing all these side jobs. So one day, I happened to be doing a voiceover. Like when you're in radio, you get invited to do voiceover work just because people know who you are. And it was completely random. I'm leaving the job. I'm working with a guy named Bob. We go down to the street. He's getting into a Jaguar sedan, and I am fishing in my pocket for a subway token. I'm dead broke, right? But he's getting into a Jaguar. And I say, Bob, you got to tell me, what are you doing that I am not doing? I mean, we just did the same voiceover. We read you're obviously doing a lot better than I am. And he said, look, lunch, come with me. And we sat down, and he pulled out his laptop, and he said, look, when I'm not working, I'm marketing. And I said, marketing? What's that? And he explained to me his lead generation system and a whole other bunch of things that I don't have time to go into today. But the light bulb went off in my head, and I realized that if I wanted to be successful, I was wasting my time trying to audition just a little bit better than everybody else. What I really needed to do was become an expert in sales and marketing, because I was good enough. I'd been behind the mic for years, but I certainly didn't understand how to market myself. So what I did was I started going to workshops with entrepreneurs on marketing and sales, and a lot of them I couldn't even afford at the time, but I put it on a credit card, I borrowed the money, and I went and I studied, and I started reading all these books, and I became an expert in sales and marketing, and I developed a whole method for marketing my voiceover services. And do you know what? It worked. It worked so well. My career took off, and I became the voice of AT&T, and on and on and on. And then at the same time, I was doing so well in voiceover, I had the courage to be able to quit radio. Yes, I know I was on the Howard Stern show, but it was a radio job with no future. I would always be in Howard's shadow. That's what I did. I started my voiceover business, and I started training people just like you. And that was almost 30 years ago. And I've had the pleasure of helping launch successful voiceover careers over the years, and not to mention the pleasure of growing my own business. We're the Great Voice Company. We're in New Jersey. We serve over 300 customers. I'm now, in addition to being the voice of AT&T, the voice of Citibank and hundreds of other customers. And you know, I'm out there every day doing voiceovers. It's a wonderful thing, and working with great people like you. So, you know, above all, I have a system, and as I was developing my business, I developed a system that worked. And above that, what that was giving me was freedom, autonomy, and flexibility in my life. I mean, I spend about 6 weeks a year in Brazil. I go down there twice a year, 3 weeks at a time. I bring my laptop, I bring my microphone, and it's as if I'm right here in the States, so I can do voiceover from anywhere, and I travel and I enjoy myself, and I've got a great life. So that's what I want for you. What you're going to discover on this call is some key things about your home studio that are going to make this possible. We're talking all about microphones today, and we're going to talk about the best way to microphone placement mistakes that can kill a great performance, and microphones that can actually make you sound never be used. Did you even know such a thing existed? Yes, it does, and I've got your back. I don't want you to make that kind of expensive mistake. And so in just a few minutes, I'm going to bring, actually right now, I'm going to introduce my wonderful audio engineer, Chris Fox. Now, Chris is with me here at the Great Voice Company. Hang on a second, Chris, because I want to tell people all about your background. Chris has worked at NBC, CBS, MTV, ESPN, the NFL Network. He's mixed films that have been at the Cannes Film Festival and Tribeca. He has even worked with Led Zeppelin, which I love it when he tells that story. And he studied audio at the Recording Institute of Technology in LA, where he learned his craft and turned his passion for audio into his career. So Chris, say hi to everybody.
Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Can you hear me nice and clear, Susan?
Yeah, I hear you and I see you. We can't. I'll shut up.
What was that?
So,
you were breaking up.
I was just saying that when I talk, you can't talk at the same time. And you know what else you should do, Chris? I think you should close the shades behind you, because it's kind of making you look a little darker.
1 second. 1 second.
Yeah, reach over and do that. So let's, in just a second when he does that, we're going to get into the best way to choose the right microphone for your voice. And this is so important. This is the question everybody has, because like I say, there's like one right mic for your voice. Not all microphones are right for all voices. So the first thing you need to understand is there's a difference between a USB microphone, which plugs directly into your computer, and a microphone that requires a different kind of plug, like an XLR plug, and needs to use an interface. And Chris says that the microphones that need an audio interface are better. So Chris, I'll be quiet and let you explain why that's the case.
Can everyone see me and hear me now?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Well, there's many differences between a USB microphone and a regular XLR microphone. The pros of a USB microphone is that it's very portable. You could bring it anywhere with you, and all you need to do is, Susan, can you mute your microphone?
Sure.
Very quickly. Sorry about that, guys. Basically, a USB microphone is great for traveling and for working abroad. Now, with that being said, there are restrictions to quality as opposed to availability with the USB microphone. Condenser microphones really work off of what we call in the industry is phantom power. It's a 48 volts that powers the microphone. Most microphones that we use with phantom power are condensers. So it's really a condenser microphone versus a USB microphone. Now, condenser microphones work with audio interfaces. Basically, a USB microphone is an audio to digital converter within the microphone. So I have a microphone right here, which is the Blue Spark. This has a built-in audio digital converter.
Hey, Chris, let me interrupt for a second, because you're kind of in the shadows. Can you turn your mic so that it's a little, I guess, to your right? Because it's focusing on the window right now, and I think that's much better.
How is that? Okay, cool.
Much better.
Excellent.
Cool.
So this is the Blue Spark right here. This has a built-in audio digital converter. Now, because it's in the microphone, it's decent quality. But when you work with a condenser microphone, you need an external audio interface. That could be a Focusrite interface. That could be an Apollo interface. It could be an Apogee interface. There's so many different interfaces on the market. But when you have a condenser microphone, you're working with the interface, that's really going to be your home studio microphone and your home studio setup. You're not going to be traveling with the interface off on business trips. But the condenser microphone has a higher output volume than a USB microphone. I mean, you could do a lot of A/Bing with these microphones, and you're going to tell a difference because the bit depth of a standard USB microphone can only go to 16 bits, where when you're recording with a condenser microphone and an audio interface, if one of your clients' deliverables is higher than 16 bits, you can't really provide that quality of audio when you're working with the USB microphone. Because when you're working with a condenser microphone, it can go to 96K as opposed to just 4416.
Now, let me interrupt for a second because I don't want people to get confused. So
Sure.
basically, in plain English, because, you know, Chris is very technical, as audio engineers are, and he really knows his stuff. But basically, for you, if that, what he just said, like went right over your head and you have no idea what he's talking about, what he's saying for you is that when you use an interface, you have more flexibility. You really can give your customer a higher quality product. In most cases, the USB mic is going to be good enough. But if you're going to make the investment and you really want to improve your home studio, we do suggest that you get a better quality mic, that the type that would use an interface. And so if a good USB mic is perhaps what, like $200, Chris?
Yeah, you can get a good USB microphone for around 150 to 200.
Yeah, like say an Apogee, which is my favorite, is about $200, and the Blue Yeti is between 100 and 200. For a few $100 more, like say 300 or 400, you can get a really great sounding microphone that would require an interface condenser mic, right? Right, Chris? Like the Bottle Baby
Absolutely.
Blue.
Yeah, the Bottle Baby Blues is around 350, 400, I believe. Yeah, it's a really, really warm sounding, great condenser microphone for the price. It's unbelievable.
Right, and for my voice, yeah. So we
absolutely
did test them. I mean, we went through, when Chris says A/B it, so what he means is you really have to record several different microphones and record yourself saying the same script on several different microphones in the exact same recording condition, meaning the same room, the same distance away from the mic, and check them out. I mean, how many mics did we check, Chris? I think we checked like 6 different mics before we went with the Bottle Blue, including an AKG 414, which is like a $900 microphone, the one we've been using for years. And
we went through, we A/B'd 6 different microphones, and the AKG 414, which is, the top dollar microphone, too bright for your voice, or most female voices. I feel it picks up too much mouth noise as well, where the Blue is just a very flat, warm sound without any processing, just a raw, clean sound, which brings you to where you're recording and what environment you're recording in.
Yeah, so it's you might be surprised what you discover, that sometimes the more expensive microphones are not necessarily better for your voice, within reason. And here's another thing about a really, really good high-end mic. Now, for example, the gold standard in the industry, one of the gold standards, is a Neumann microphone, like a what, a U87? Is that it, Chris? Would be the really high-quality Neumann?
Yeah, the U87 is like, the cat's pajamas of microphones.
It's a great mic. However, and that's like a $3,000 microphone. But once you get that, it's so sensitive that you now have to make sure that your soundproofing and your sound treatment is like, state of the art as well. So it's almost like, you get a new kitchen, put a new kitchen in your house, and next thing you know, you're redoing the living room, you're redoing the roof, because you can't have this great kitchen with a roof that's falling apart and a living room that's looking a little ratty. So look, I'm all for a fantastic high quality mic, but just be prepared. You have to consider everything together. So we found that this blue mic at only $300 for my voice was a great solution, and we didn't have to like significantly upgrade our voice booth or anything like that. So ways that you can A/B mics is a company like B&H, which you can order a microphone online, has a 30-day return policy. If you're not in New York, you can ask them to, you can buy a few microphones and test them out at home, and then just return the ones that you don't like. And within 30 days, they will be very gracious and take that mic back for you. And if you come to New York, or if you're in New York, like say you're coming to our boot camp, you can do a little field trip over to B&H, which is in New York City. What are they on 46th Street, I think? And you can actually bring your laptop and plug microphones in at the store. They will absolutely help you with that. They welcome that. And locally, you might go to your local Guitar Center or Sam Ash, to test some mics as well. But you can figure it out. You actually have to record yourself on different microphones to see what sounds better. Now, what about getting an outside set of ears, Chris? You had some great suggestions. You could ask a local studio engineer and a local recording studio, right?
Absolutely. If you have a local studio that all your friends or coworkers talk about, definitely call up, make yourself say, hi, my name is Christopher. I'm a local voiceover artist. I'd love your opinion and feedback on some of the audio. I'm new to this. Engineers always love when people say they're new to this, they're excited about this, because it brings us hope that our knowledge will help you out as well. So yeah, that's why I would definitely contact your local studios.
It brings you hope. I know you guys are like the unsung heroes working behind the scenes, and you don't get the respect you deserve. But
the sound guys never do.
Without you, we are nothing. We are nothing. So we work together to make magic. We know that, and we love you. Okay, so I hope that's helpful for you. That's my take on the best way to choose the right microphone for your voice. If you have a question, by the way, about this or anything else we covered today, we're going to have a Q&A period coming up in just a few minutes. So here's what I want you to do. Send your question to Keith, Keith, at greatvoice.com. Keith is standing by to take your questions by email, and he'll pass them on to me, and we'll answer them for you live on the air, because that's what we're doing today. So Keith at greatvoice.com for your questions about microphones, or actually anything related to voiceover. I'm happy to help. And hey, welcome, guys. I'm seeing all the people that are coming on the Hangout today, and I thank you. I know it's like the middle of the day, and you're taking time off to be with me, so I really, really appreciate that, and I'm so happy you're here. Okay, my next point is common microphone placement mistakes, Chris. This is where you shine. So what can you tell us about some basics about how to talk into a mic, really, where you place your mic? What can you tell us about that?
Okay. Most microphones, first off, their logo, the company logo will always be on the front of the microphone. Because sometimes people will get a microphone and they'll be recording into the back to say, hey, why doesn't this sound correct? It's because you're speaking into the back of the microphone. So this is the blue microphone, and hence the logo is right on the front. So you want to always stay about 1 or 2 inches away from the microphone. And if you have a pop screen, it is a black circle that usually hangs over the microphone, which stops a lot of mouth noise. I would say that is the most crucial part of your recording, is to make sure you have a pop screen, because it filters out all of the sibilants and mouth noise that you have. And picking your prime location of where you record. Generally, we like to tell our students and people who are new to this to record into a closet with a lot of dampening material, either it be clothes, blankets, anything along those lines, where you can build a small barrier with clothes. Everyone has a closet in their house that has jackets. Unmove the jackets, put a little table down there, have your microphone on the stand in between there, and try recording into that little space right there. If you don't have an empty closet, try to find a corner of the room at your house and try to hang a few things, either it be sound absorbent blankets, which you can get, which are actually moving blankets you can get from U-Haul for like 20-30 bucks. You can hang them on your wall, or you can hang an old quilt, because whenever you record into a corner of a room and that there's not, if you don't have anything to dampen the sound is going to reflect off the corners, because sound travels, and it's going to reflect off the corners and actually go back into your microphone, and that will cause phasing. Whenever phasing, to make it really simple, is when I record, if you record into the microphone and if you have a wall right behind you where the sound reflects off the wall and actually picks up back into the microphone, so you'll hear a little phasing, which sometimes it happens with webcams and it happens with your computer. So I would always try to find the quietest space in your home, and also find a space that has dampening cloth or sheets. And if you don't have any of those things, if you don't have any of those spaces, I would highly suggest to record in the middle of your room, because you don't want to record up against the wall, because obviously the sound is gonna hit the wall very soon. So you want to distance yourself from the wall and record straight into the microphone, because 9 times out of 10 it's going to pick up just your source, which your voice is your source, and by the time the sound reverberates off the wall back to the microphone, it's not going to pick it up with the same line which you just spoke into the microphone.
Oh, that's great suggestions, Chris. Thank you very much for that. Now,
You're welcome.
Before we finish talking about microphone placement mistakes, let's talk about microphone patterns. And I hope you guys your heads aren't exploding, because you're probably thinking, all I want to do is do some voiceover. Now I have to worry about all this technical stuff. Well, actually, hopefully you're enjoying learning about this, because it is something new and exciting. And here's a question. We'll by the way, if you have questions, email them to Keith@greatvoice.com. We'll answer all the questions in just a few minutes when we get to the Q&A portion of our Hangout today. But microphones have actually different patterns. And some microphones are like shotgun mics, which you've probably seen. They look just like there's a long, narrow tube. And they're very, what we call, directional, which means you talk right into them, or they hang like this above your mouth. Chris, when would we use a shotgun mic?
Normally, you want to use a shotgun mic. Well, if you A/B'd a bunch of microphones, and hey, sometimes the Sennheiser 416 is a great sounding microphone for male voice. So you would use it if you A/B'd a bunch of microphones. But most of the time, in my experience, when you use a shotgun directional microphone, it's for ADR. It's for re-recording dialogue replacement for a movie or film, because on set they're using shotgun microphones, so you want to replicate what on set for recording the actual original audio on set.
Okay, and so microphones also have a pattern. So some of the more expensive microphones allow you to change the pattern on them. They have switches, and the typical patterns are the cardioid pattern, which is like a heart shape, for like cardio, a cardioid heart shape pattern, or a directional pattern, or even a figure 8, which means you can record on both sides of the mic. So you recommend, Chris, don't you, that the cardioid pattern, if we have the choice, is the best one for voiceover, right?
Yeah, the cardioid or super cardioid is probably the best. Cardioid is going to pick up just right around the front of their mic. So if you happen to move a little bit to your left, a little bit to your right, the source is still going to sound exactly the same in volume. And the hypercardioid also picks up a little bit behind the microphone, which is good because of a lot of the low end of your voice resides around the back of the microphone when you're speaking into the microphone. So that's where it picks up. But like the blue microphone that we use has no settings. It's just set to cardioid, which is a good enough setting if your microphone doesn't have all those options.
Right, that's great. So look, aren't you learning like so much stuff? You're going to be so impressive if you're this weekend. You're at a party and you start talking about cardioid mics. But anyway, this is our for those who are just joining us, and we have quite a bunch of folks, a lot of people coming on the call all the time. This is everything beginners ought to know about microphones for voiceover. And I know a lot of you are just starting out, and we're really giving you like a college education here, which, hey, it doesn't hurt to know more than you need and to really get this information to really be in the know. And I'm with my audio engineer, Chris Fox. That's who that other guy is that keeps popping in and off here. So we just learned all about how to place your mic. We learned how to choose the best mic for your voice. And then the next point, my final point, Chris, is microphones you should never, ever use. I didn't know there was such a thing. So let's out some of these bad boys, talk about them. What are these mics that are evil that we should never use for voiceover? Talk to me.
Handheld dynamic microphones you should never, ever, ever use for voiceover. I'm sure we've all seen, it's a pretty standard microphone, that Shure SM58. It's what you'll see Robert Plant singing with. It's what you'll see is the microphone. And for music, it's the best microphone out there. But for recording, it is not recommended. It is very, very, very dull sounding and flat, and it sounds like you're talking into a cardboard box. Any handheld dynamic microphone, which they're cheap, and that's what people, they'll go to Guitar Center and they'll see the price. Hey, it's a microphone. It has an XLR. It should be good. Wrong. It's meant to be flat, because when singers sing, they get really loud, but the microphone stays very flat, and that makes it sound very cardboard boxy when you record. Also, anything you're going to see at your local electronics store. I know Radio Shack. Is it even still around, Radio Shack, Susan?
I don't know, but you guys, you can buy a mic there, and you're like, oh, look how cool, 25 bucks, and it plugs right in. No, don't do it. Why? I mean, it sounds terrible, right?
Absolutely. USB microphones nowadays are light years ahead of any dynamic handheld microphone that you might purchase because you just didn't know any better. Also, any kind of handheld Britney Spears microphone, as I like to call it, you don't want to record in, like what we use for sales conferencing, or some people use them for just Skyping or Google Hangouts like we're doing. You don't want to use that microphone because it's going to sound very hollow. It's going to sound like you're recording straight into your computer speakers. A wireless lavalier you don't want to use for recording as well. Those are used for film and video production. They even make hardwired lavaliers, which theoretically they sound really, really, really good, but it's not the quality that you're going for with voiceovers.
Yeah, a lavalier, those are the ones that clip onto your lapel or your shirt. And of course, your smartphone, right, Chris? We never want to use the smartphones record. They all record. Right?
Picking up, Susan, what was the question?
About using your smartphone to actually record an audition or, heaven forbid, a job.
No, I would definitely stay away from that unless you do have a microphone like the Blue or the Apogee, which plugs into your smartphone or iPad or tablet, and you have a Twisted Wave or SoundForge or a recording app, because you can record great sounding stuff with your phone if you have the microphone to work with it, but never ever record straight into your phone. That's very unprofessional, and the client would recognize that.
Yeah, so that's great. So now you know how to test the right mic for your voice, how to position the mic, and the microphones you should never, ever use that are just terrible for voiceover. And now you might be asking yourself, well, now what? Now what do I do? I know about these microphones, but that alone is not going to help me start my voiceover career. I need help. I need to learn how to do this. And I need a lot of missing pieces about, like, that marketing plan, Susan, you were talking about, that helped you skyrocket your business. And we have here, we have the Voiceover Training Institute, which is a 6-month program, and a lot of people enjoy. And we also have a way to kickstart your voiceover career. It's called the Voiceover Bootcamp Recording Studio Immersion Experience. And as luck would have it, we've got one coming up in October on Columbus Day weekend, which is October 8th through 10th in New York City. We do that because I know a lot of people are off, and that helps you come on down and spend the weekend with us. So let me just quickly tell you who this is not for, and then we're going to get into some of your questions, which, by the way, you can email to Keith@greatvoice.com. Keith just handed me a whole stack, so feel free, Keith@greatvoice.com. So our boot camp, by the way, it's just not for get-rich-quick dreamers who want overnight results. It's not for people who are not willing to work hard at growing their own voiceover business. There's no tooth fairy. This is not going to happen for you overnight. You're not going to be discovered. You have to do some work, but it's fun work. It's not for people who think they know it all and who can't take direction. It's not for people who are not willing to grow by investing in themselves and their future. And of course, it's not for arrogant scene stealers who need to be the center of attention and will disrupt the class. So we screen all those people out for you. But the reasons why I built the Voiceover Bootcamp Recording Studio immersion experience was because people told me they were looking for a way to jumpstart their career, to build momentum in a jam-packed weekend, a place to network and get support, a place to get the resources, which frankly I wish that I had when I was starting out. And they want to experience the thrill of working with the best professional in a top recording studio. People like Chris Fox, who you just work with. How would you like to have Chris working with you on your voiceover business? Well, he's going to be there at the boot camp. People like Adriana Davis, producer, and me there for 3 jam-packed days in October 8th, 9th, and 10th at Avatar Studios in New York City. And, here's what happens. On day 1, we're going to put you right up at the microphone. We're going to walk you through my method for interpreting commercials, which is one of the most important voiceover niches. There's just so many of them. We want to make sure you know exactly how to do that. On day 2, it's all about non-broadcast voiceovers with Adriana. And you're also going to record a spot that we will produce for you on the second day. And on day 3, I share my $1 million marketing plan, and there's a tech check where Chris will stand over your shoulder while you set up your mic and teach you some basic recording skills, how to deep breath, how to do some basic editing. It is a fantastic jam-packed weekend. And, why would you make this investment? Why would you come to New York? I just want to share with you some rates that were paid for recent voiceover jobs. And what I'm about to tell you is from my own career and the experience of my colleagues and my students. So I'm not making this up. A 10-page or 20-page non-broadcast corporate non-union narration paid $750. Not bad. A local 60-second radio spot in a small market, $75. A 3-page non-broadcast narration training, $500. The voice of Christmas decorations for a rich guy in Florida, $350. An audiobook, the flat rate per finished hour is between $150 to $300 per finished hour, and the average book is 6 to 8 hours. 200 telephone voice prompts, $150. A 1-hour e-learning narration, the finished audio, $1,200. A huge e-learning project that took a year to record from home. Are you ready? Are you ready? This talent made $90,000 for a 1-year project. 4-page medical narration, $750. A video game residual check paid to a union voice talent, $100,000. 80-page business ebook for financial advisor, $4,500. A large text-to-speech application for IBM, $10,000. So these are real jobs, real money that people make. Of course, we can't promise anything. Your results might be different, probably will be different, and you have to work hard to make this happen. But what I can tell you is the money in voiceover is made in repeat business. I mean, I have one customer, just one customer, that paid me over $1 million and started as a $350 job. They kept coming back and back and back again for 10 or 12 years. And many of my customers have this kind of 6-figure lifetime value. I mean, that's serious lifestyle money. That's a real business. And it starts at our boot camp. So what's the investment? Well, the boot camp investment, if you invest before next Wednesday, August 31st, it's $1,247, $1,247. You can also break the payment into 2 payments of $697. first payment now and the second September 15th. And the price will go up September 1st to $14.97. So for those who are, with us today, want to take fast action, that's how we can help you out with this. Now, I just got to say, if you're happy with pocket change and doing a $75 job here, a $100 job there, you probably can learn what you need from a book in the library or on YouTube, and the boot camp is not for you. I'm being honest with you. But if you intend to make voiceover a significant part of your future, I think you can see the value in the boot camp recording studio immersion experience, because it's going to pay for itself in a job or two. And I invite you to join us. Also want to throw in a few fast action bonuses. The first 10 to register are going to get a 30-minute Skype consult with Chris. You see how smart he is about studio stuff. That's got a $250 value. And if you're one of the first 10 to register, he's yours for 30 minutes. And he'll actually Skype with you. You can show him pictures of your home studio and help you out. And also, if you're one of the first 5 to register, you get me for 30 minutes. We're going to do a strategy session about your voiceover career, and that's got, a priceless value. I mean, people pay me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to work with me privately. $750 in bonuses for people who take fast action. So great deal for you today. So right now, I want to do some Q&A. I have a stack here. Those calls are coming in. Your questions are coming in to Keith@greatvoice.com. And while I gather those, I just want to say to you, imagine living a life you'll love, your new home-based career behind the microphone, a career where you call the shots, where every day is a new adventure, where you have confidence, where you have independence, where you have security. All of that's possible, and it starts with our boot camp. I hope we see you October 8th through 10th in New York City. So now I've got a ton of questions. Chris, let's start. I'll start asking them, and if I don't know the answer, you can help. This is from Nancy, who said she bought an Apogee mic, which we love. It's USB, after our online course. Hi, Nancy. Thank you for that. But it doesn't work on her laptop, only an iPad.
What kind of?
What should do?
It's probably it's probably a PC laptop, and Apogee only works with Mac products.
Yeah, too bad. But only an iPad. But she has an iPad, so you can record.
That's all you need.
Yeah, using Twisted Wave. The quality is fantastic. Keith asks, he says, does it matter if I hang? Oh, no, actually, it's Mike Kozlowski. Hi, Mike. Mike says, does it matter if I hang the mic upside down from an extension arm, or should I keep it right side up? Does it matter, Chris?
It doesn't really matter as long as you're talking into the top, into the front of the diaphragm, not like on the bottom. A lot of studios, just from the way their booth is set up, they will hang it like that. It's all the same. It's not going to affect the audio.
Great. Okay. By the way, got a question, send it to Keith@greatvoice.com. Michelle Borders-Hendry would like us to explain the best placement to help reduce popping of P's or even sibilants. Is it placing the mic a little off center? How much off center? What do you think, Chris?
It really depends on the space you're recording in, as well as where you're setting it up. But I would say don't go off center. If you're recording straight on and you have a lot of mouth noise, I would suggest, and if you're using a pop filter, that could be a follow-up question. If you can email Keith and let us know if you're using a pop filter. If you are using a pop filter, I've done this before, I would double it up, get another pop filter and put it in front. And you want space. You want to put one pop filter where your mouth would be, and then one pop filter almost like right on the microphone. So there's a little gap of space in between each pop filter, so you can let that actually the filters do their work and filter out that mouth noise.
That's great. Somebody wants to know, Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Tracy wants to know if there's a book or in this program. The way she spells program with 2 M's, I guess Tracy is in Europe or England. Hi, Tracy. Happy to have you here. So what do you think, Chris? I mean, I can't learn audio engineering from a book. I am just very visual. It's very difficult for me to do. Have you seen a good book you like?
There's a few out there. Off the top of my head, I can't reference one, but I could follow up an email, Tracy. I would say the best way to learn is our good friend YouTube. If you don't have a friend or if you don't have another source of knowledge, you know, and if you have questions, there are a lot of very informative YouTube videos, even for very technical stuff. Sometimes roads with trying to edit something and for a film or a TV show, that I know there is a better way, or not a better way, there's an other way of doing it. I will go on YouTube myself and actually try to find some things out there. So yeah, I think also because audio is very, in a sense, visual with editing, so it's better to see hands-on with your eyes than reading a book, in my opinion.
Okay, great. Now, I have another question here from Art. Art wants to know off-axis placement of the mic. My experience is that an off-axis placement tends to eliminate problems with plosives. Plosives are popping P's, D's, that type of thing, T's. So explain to people again, Chris, what off-axis placement is. Maybe you can demonstrate with that mic. And what do you think?
Well, off-axis placement would be if the microphone's right here, is recording from the side. If you have a good hypercardioid microphone or a good cardioid pattern, you can get away with that because it's not picking up directly into the microphone. And I have heard that you can get good results that way if you have, because every voice is different, and some people have a lot of mouth noise. Even if you drink a lot of water, you're still gonna have that mouth noise. So every mic is different, every person's different. So if you have success recording off axis, it doesn't mean that Susan's gonna have success recording off axis with that microphone. I would always rather personally record straight on axis with a pop filter, and then if you're having other problems, in adding on another pop filter as well.
That's great. We have a question from Jake, and Jake wants to know the best way to find the optimum combination of microphone and software. Now, software doesn't really affect the way you sound, does it, Chris? I mean, other than you can obviously edit out and, you know, do things like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the software. They're all relatively the same. Like Pro Tools versus Audacity, it's theoretically the same exact thing, but your options are very limited with like effects and compressors and what you're going to do. But configuration is very important. Going back to the first lady's question, because she bought an Apogee, and I bet you she has a PC, laptop, or computer, and that's why that's not working. So do your homework, do a little research before you dive into purchasing something. But Apogee, in my knowledge, is the only microphone that is only compatible with Mac. Every like Rode that's out there, USB microphone, every Blue microphone that's out there, and that goes back to another bonus of having a condenser microphone with an interface, because every interface that you get that you've purchased in the last five or 6 years is going to be compatible with every software and every computer, either be PC or Mac. So that's another benefit of having an interface, because you can record into any computer as well, and any software.
Look at this stack of questions I've got, Chris. Let's keep it moving
Awesome.
here. Sandy wants to know, she has an Apogee, and she's noticed some sibilance. The sibilance doesn't have anything to do with the Apogee, does it? It has to do with her mouth, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of people use the Apogee with no pop filter, because the Apogee is a very small microphone. The pop filter is actually bigger than the microphone. But get a pop filter, attach it to a table, because there's nowhere to actually put the pop filter on the Apogee. It's such a small microphone. But try to rig up a situation where you can put your filter in front of it. If you're recording with the filter and you have issues with mouth noise, I suggest try drinking a little bit more water as well, and doing some vocal warm-ups that we all know very well. That definitely could help.
Yeah, and watch what you eat before a session too. Certain foods give you more of that. You know, sibilance is it's an issue a lot of women have, and even poorly fitting dental things. You know, if you have some teeth problems, go to your dentist, have them check. And if you've got little spaces between your teeth, sometimes they can bond it's very inexpensive, and they do a little bit of bonding, and that can help close those spaces where extra air might be coming through. Okay, Lang wants to know, says he has a very deep voice, and he said he's using a Marshall condenser mic, something like an MXL 67 with a pop filter and shock stand. What's a good mic for a deep voice, Chris?
A good mic for a deep voice is the Blue Bottle Baby Blue microphone. It is amazing. The microphone is very flat sounding, which is what you want for a deep voice. It's not gonna peak, because if you have a deep voice and you get right up on there, it's gonna be it's gonna sound great. The Blue microphone is great. What else is out there? There is the I think an AKG, the 414. It's a little bit more expensive for male voices. It works really, really, really well for female voices, because the female voice lies between high mids to the highs. It's a little too responsive to female voice. But for a male voice, either be a very deep voice or a mid range, the AKG has very, very good pickup on that.
Lang, if you want to buy one of ours, call the office. I'm serious. 800-333-8108. And we could probably give you a good price on that AKG 414, because we have a couple that we're no longer using. By the way, if anybody is interested in buying that, call us, or send an email to keith@greatvoice.com. Stephanie wants to know, she said she does voiceover for training. She picked up a CAD U37 because it had got good reviews on Amazon. Can she use it for other work too? I guess she means voiceover work. Can it? What do you think about that CAD U37? Have you heard about that?
You were breaking up, Susan. Sorry, what was the question?
The CAD U37. Stephanie wants to know if that's a good enough microphone for voiceover.
I'm not 100% familiar with it, but if you give me 2 seconds, I'll look it up really quickly and see what we got.
Okay. So while you do that, Anne has a question. She bought an Audio-Technica 2100 USB cardioid dynamic XLR mic for podcasting, and she sees now that it is a handheld dynamic microphone, and she wants to know if this is one of those microphones that's bad.
If it's for a podcast, the audio quality is not that important. You'll get away with it. But if you plan on using it for voiceovers, or the audio quality is important for your podcast, I would definitely replace it and get like a $100 USB microphone. You can get them out there. And I'm looking at the CAD. This is good for a beginner, but I wouldn't suggest using this as your primary microphone.
Okay. Catherine Steinberg wants to know if it's an LSR or XLR interface. It's XLR, right, Chris?
XLR, yep.
Yeah,
XLR.
Right. Hi, Catherine. Nice to have you here. Catherine's at our VOTI program, Voiceover Training Institute, so nice to have you. Let's see. Bluewood. So what you need, the thing the XLR plugs into, like a Scarlett, what is that, a preamp?
Yep.
Yeah,
Interface.
it's a preamp. Same thing, right, Chris?
Preamps, yeah, yes and no. Some preamps are just strictly a preamp, where it's just analog, and you can't get that signal into a computer because you just record it. It's just a microphone preamp. But they work hand in hand with each other, where you have your microphone preamp, which is just a preamp, go digitally into an interface. The interface goes into your computer. But like the Scarlett, that's a preamp / interface that has two built-in mic pre's on it, built-in interface. We plug that. You plug your microphone into the interface into the computer.
People are asking for our top 3 choices for audio interfaces and microphones. And you know what? I think we need to do some research, Chris, and publish those separately. So guys, if you have specifics, questions on those, what we'll do is we promise we'll come back to you with that, because
yeah, I could also tell them very, very quickly, in my opinion, anything that Blue makes is very reasonable. Obviously the Neumann U87 is an amazing microphone. It's very expensive, but for interfaces, Focusrite. For the price, and you get so much bang for your buck, where the preamps are modeled after high-end preamps that you get, you know, for 150 to 200. Guts of the interface and preamp are normally the same from every model up until you get up to about like $400, and then you're talking about multi preamps and having to be able to record. Like for a podcast, you need mix. You know, I think it's the X version where it's you can have 5 mic pre's on there as well.
Nancy Isaacs had a question. She does audiobooks, and she said she gets a lot of sinus and mouth noises and wants to know about the best microphone. But Chris, that's not a microphone situation. That is a case for the deep crackler, right? For the Isotope. Let's give them a shout out for a second. Now, the Isotope is a piece of software, and Nancy, it's a bit expensive. It's about $300, isn't it, Chris? But you run this thing, and that will get rid of cracks and pops. All of that, right?
It will get rid of everything. It will get rid of the annoying refrigerator hum that you have, that even if you're recording down the hallway, close the door, and sometimes these sounds just travel and it just gets into your recording. It won't take away the crying baby though. Some people get denoisers and decracklers and noise reduction confused. It is definitely essential for getting rid of mouth noise and constant sound, like a fan or a refrigerator hum or a light hum. You can get rid of it. It recognizes the frequency. Basically, you want to pick a dead space where you're not talking, where it's just that source of the fan, and simply it recognizes that piece of audio, and it recognizes the frequencies of which that hum is, and then you process your audio, and it just sucks that sound right out of the audio.
So that's an Isotope, is the name of that.
Isotope RX.
Isotope RX, and it's not, you know, this is not really for beginners. It's a bit complicated to use, but it's, I think if you're going pro, it's very important to have in your home studio. Okay, my goodness, the questions here. I want to get to as many of them as I can. Yes, this recording will be available. And somebody says they've been using Laura Beth, a Blue Yeti, in her closet. She wants to upgrade to a non-USB mic. She wants to spend as much as $500. You know, what are the recommendations? I mean, you know, we like that bottle baby blue. That's what we did in our studio. It's under $500 and it works well. So somebody else, Misty, says, is Shure a good microphone for a mid-low range female voice?
It's always going back to Blue. I think the microphone for the money is really the best microphone on the market if you have the budget. If not, I know Rode makes a really nice microphone. I don't have the model number in front of me, but they make really good products. They're very, very affordable as well. You can see that on B&H.com. They have really good microphones up on there.
Great. Somebody wanted to know what mic I bring with me to Brazil. I bring my Apogee mic with me, and I'm fortunate that I have a friend who has a recording studio down there, so it's already soundproof. So I just go in that space and hook my mic up to my laptop, and away I go. And it sounds good, doesn't it, Chris?
It sounds amazing. And the Rode is the NT1. That microphone is really nice as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let me see if I can answer a few more of these quick questions. Guys, I'm so happy you're here. It's been a really great group of folks today. Okay. No, they have Craig has a Rode shotgun, and he wants to know where he should place that, how far away from the mic he should be talking.
I would say about 2 or 3 inches. If this is the shotgun, I would say about 2 or 3 inches. And we actually discussed this yesterday, me and Susan. There's 3 things you can do. You can record straight on, you can put it above you and record it straight down, or you can put it below you and record up like that. I would suggest having it straight on, a little bit tilted, and about 2 to 3 inches away from it. If you get too close, it's going to blow out.
Yeah, meaning sound distorted. That's what he means by blow out. So guys, you know what? I've just made a great deal for you with our boot camp, where you can get it for $12.97 if you register by August the 31st. Come to New York on October 8th through 10th, Columbus Day weekend. You spend 3 great days for our voiceover bootcamp recording studio immersion experience in the studio with me and Adriana Davis, producer Chris Fox, who did such an awesome job today with all of our microphone information. Here's how to register for the bootcamp. There's a link right here on the Hangout page, but if you want to call us, Keith is here right now. He can answer your questions, take your call. It's 800-333-8108, 800-333-8108, or just send him an email to talent@greatvoice.com. It's talent@greatvoice.com. Choose your payment plan, get the fast action bonuses, the private time with Chris, the private time with me, and spend 3 exciting, fun-filled days with us at Avatar Studios in New York City, October 8th through 10th. So Chris, I want to thank you for your expertise. You did a great job.
Thank you, Susan, and happy recording, everybody.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for being a subscriber to my blog, and we'll be putting more of these together for you. And I want to see you in New York so you can be another one of our voiceover success stories. Bye-bye now. And we'll be putting more of these together for you. And I want to see you in New York so you can be another one of our voiceover success stories. Bye-bye now. And we'll be putting more of these together for you. And I want to see you in New York so you can be another one of our voiceover success stories. Bye-bye now.